Joe, I can't let you do this to me. Not with the whole Senate watching.
Senator, this would hurt me very badly at home.
Ah, you can live with this. I know you can because I've lived with worse. You just want to get some mileage out of this. Save the country from a disastrous appointment. Make yourself a hero.
No, I don't, Senator.
The hell you don't. No.
Melvin Douglas and Alan Alda, a confrontation between ethics and loyalty in The Seduction of Joe Tynan, one of 5 new movies we'll be reviewing on sneak previews. And across the aisle from me is Gene Siskel, film critic of the Chicago Tribune.
And this is Roger Ebert, film critic of the Chicago Sun-Times. Now, in addition to The Seduction of Joe Tynan, which we both agree is a terrific picture, we're going to review 4 other films. And get this, we disagree on every one of them. The other films are Real Life, a comedy by Albert Brooks, Aux Folles, a French farce that's proving to be quite a hit all around this country, Over the Edge, a story of teenage rebellion. But first, Roger begins with another movie about kids. This one's called Rich Kids.
Now, there once was a time, Gene, when movie kids lived in the best of all possible worlds, and if they somehow got into trouble, Lassie would save them. But in the mean old world of today, that's no longer quite the case, and so recently we've had a bunch of movies about kids trying to survive in a society where even the grown-ups don't have the answers. And now comes Rich Kids, about 2 kids trying to grow up in a fashionable Manhattan neighborhood while their parents bounce back and forth between adultery and psychiatry. For kids like these, even spending the night at the house of a friend gets a little complicated.
How was school?
Fine.
Good.
I have to go now. Why? Well, if I'm not home by 5, my mom panics.
Well, when you first come to this city, it can be pretty scary. How long has she lived here?
All life. 6:30 tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
See ya.
Nice meeting you, Jamie.
I'll be all packed.
That's a nice boy. Packed for what?
Sleepover.
What sleepover?
I told you. Tomorrow night at Jamie's.
Oh, hold on.
You said yes.
I said yes to what? When?
This morning.
Jamie is a boy. Well, your father will never hear of it.
He's never here to hear of it.
He's here tonight.
But you're not.
Why do you always have an answer for everything?
You promised.
I was asleep.
A promise is a promise.
Yes, I accept that. But is a promise when you didn't even hear what you were promising when you promised it?
Yes.
That boy...
You said he was nice. You didn't even have to ask him to carry your junk.
It's not junk.
He shook hands.
That was Trini Alvarado as the precocious young girl and Catherine Walker as her mother. The young girl knows her parents' marriage is breaking up. In fact, everybody's marriage seems to be breaking up in this movie. But she's young enough to still have that adolescent idealism about love, even if it is only puppy love. And in one of the movie's trickier and more charming scenes, she does visit her boyfriend, Jamie. He's staying at the apartment of his swinging father.
I can't look. Chicken. Tell me when I can look. Now.
You Steve Parker.
Jamie Harris, that was cruel. Say I'm not cruel.
No.
Say you'll never tickle me again.
No!
You're not cruel and I'll never tickle you again. That's better. I had my toes What do we do now? I give up. Kiss me, I'm yours.
When you're 13, that's easier said than done. I like the kids in Rich Kids. Their conversations have a ring of truth to them. But What I didn't much like about the movie was the way it took a sensitive and truthful story about these kids and then messed it up with adult characters who seemed borrowed from TV situation comedies. Just when the movie has us involved in these kids' personalities, it cuts to the adults in all sorts of cynical situations with clever one-liners that are really just kind of downers. It's almost as if instead of going with the kids, the filmmakers wanted to hedge their bets.
So I take it you're not a big fan of the picture.
I liked it so-so. I could have lived without it, yeah.
Yeah, I could have.
Except for the kids. I really got warm about the kids.
Except that even with these kids, they're so bright that you're always aware that someone's writing cute dialogue for them. But they're a heck of a lot better than the adults, who are a bunch of boobs in this film, especially the men. The woman that wrote this picture must not like men, because every one of these guys is sort of an idiot, obnoxious. You don't know why anyone's around them. You don't know how they created these rather interesting children. You're right, the film had something to say about young people. It should have left the adults out and go right to the young people.
You know, there's one thing that bothered me even about what they did with the kids, though, that this last scene might kind of refer to. These movies are made by adults. We've had a lot of movies this summer about adolescents, say 13, 14 years old. And the kids are always obsessed with sex. The movies are about their sex lives. A lot of 13-year-old kids are a lot more interested in bicycles or stamp collecting or scouting or swimming or watching TV than they are necessarily in sex. But it's the adults who have this hang-up, and they're trying to almost project their own feelings to these hapless characters.
I think they're teasing the audience a little bit with the sex and maybe trying to bring some people in. Now we come to a comedy. And a sense of humor, I think, is a very personal thing. And so I think you're going to find out now something about me when I say that I really enjoyed the comedy Real Life by Albert Brooks. Real Life is a parody of documentary filmmakers who try to get up close and personal to their subjects, who try to reveal through a camera, well, real life. Albert Brooks stars as director, filming a documentary on a typical American family. Now, to get up close and personal, he first greets the family with some psychologists at the airport as the family returns home from a vacation. Now, this Brooks is a clever guy. He's built special cameras called Ettenauer 2000s with the cameramen wear over their heads. They're supposed to be unobtrusive, but these guys look like they came from Star Wars.
No, I got mixed up myself. I thought the planes were right. Hey, hello! He barely knows me. Welcome home. Aloha. Look at this now. Look at this. Real orchids. Hello, Mrs. Yeager. And you, oh, look at this. Come here. Look at that. Okay. Do we know everybody? These, of course, are the Ettenauers. I think you read the literature on them. These are my two psychological consultants. They're going to be with us for the entire year, making sure everything is just perfect. Did you meet Howard at the Institute?
I don't think so.
Dr. Howard Hill. He's from the Institute, huh?
This gentleman's going to be with us for the entire year.
Yes, he is. I won't be degrading. I'll do it right this time.
I'm Dr. Ted Clary. I'm not really a consultant. I'm more of an observer. You see, I'm writing a series of articles on this project for the Journal of American Psychology.
He's a very, very well-known author, written lots of books. You know who's going to publish the articles he's writing? Did you tell him?
I did tell him. Yes,
The Journal of American Psychology, maybe the most prestigious scientific journal in the world, I swear to God. You know who reads these things? Jonas Salk, Buckminster Fuller, William Buckley, every scientist living. They go out to the mailbox, they get them like magazines. We're all going to be on Jonas Salk's coffee table. Can you believe it? He loves it. Okay, one last thing, then I'm staying out of your lives. Limo back to the house, huh? Just a special treat. Come on, let's go to the limo.
They're all going to be on Jonas Salk's coffee table. Now, this obviously is a put-down of Hollywood filmmakers who just try to take over a situation and think that any problem can be solved with limousine or money. Now, later in the film, this director Brooks follows the mother of the family to her gynecologist to get to know her better. And what follows is a parody of 60 Minutes.
Margaret, be with you in a few minutes. Mrs. Yeager, how you feeling?
Oh, much better, thank you.
What is this? What are these?
These are cameras.
Oh, no. Oh, damn it. What's going on here? I was clear. Now, come on, you get out of here. I don't need you in here.
Wait, this is a big motion picture. I'm Albert Brooks. How are you?
I don't care who the hell you are. Talk to my lawyer. Look, I was clear. Get out, out.
Dr. Renner, these people are with me. They're filming my
Mrs.
life.
Yeager, I'm sorry, but I've had some bad experiences with the 60 Minutes people.
No, we're not news. We're not digging. I don't even ask any questions. I mean, I'm just filming her, and right now you're in their life.
They're in my life. Mrs. Yeager, I'm getting awfully angry. My blood pressure's starting to soar. Now, what do you want me to do? You want them in here? Fine. Then they can take out your IUD. To Thorazine.
No, you don't understand. Wait, I know what he wants. This isn't a student film. I mean, what are we talking about? Look, there's 4 of us here, okay? He wants an abortion, all right? 2. Make it 2. I'll take a hysterectomy. She'll have the same. How about this? For parking, you think 500 might do it? I just want to film her life. Please, don't make trouble.
You're actually going to give me $500 to film an examination?
Oh, my God. Maxwell Renner, the baby broke.
Oh, Damn it, come on, get out of here. I don't need this.
Who is this man?
Didn't you see that incredible thing Mike Wallace did on him? This man sold children. They were like baby slave auctions.
Oh,
One of the
my
best things on
God.
60 Minutes
Mike
I've ever
Wallace
seen.
sent me a letter of apology.
Oh, I'll bet he did. Let's see it.
It's out being permaplaque. Now, you get out of here.
I'll take a hysterectomy. That's ridiculous. That stuff is very funny to me. I like the targets Albert Brooks has picked to skewer, and I like the way he skewers them with enthusiasm, good humor, and a little bit of bitterness. Now, Roger, you told me that you saw the picture and you disagree with me.
I did kind of let that drop, Gene. In fact, I think I was screaming at you before the movie, before
Why?
the program began.
That's funny stuff.
You're talking about, you said, this tells us something about you. I don't know what it tells you, except that humor is involuntary. People who laugh at something can't necessarily explain it rationally. I can't explain why you laugh at this picture. I did not find it funny. I found it very unfunny. The first 15 minutes might have made kind of a nice short for Saturday Night Live or something, which is where Albert Brooks came from. But then it just repeated the same comic premise over and over and over again.
You see, and I think it built. First, he greets him at the airport. Then he's into this woman's doctor's office. Eventually, in his effort to make a film that's successful and dramatic, he burns their house down. And
look at this guy. Look at this guy. You're making a movie yourself. You're sitting here giving me this stuff in such a way to make me laugh at it.
Yes, I love
You're
comedy
funny
more than
describing the things, but the movie isn't funny when it shows them.
Well, that was my response to the picture. This guy strikes my funny bone. This enthusiasm, this blindsidedness of a Hollywood director knocks me out.
Okay, in that case, we disagree, right?
Okay.
You think that movie was funny. I think the next film is funny, so I recommend mine. You recommend yours. My film is called Aux Folles. And it's one of those movies that's hard to describe without misleading people, because it sounds kind of like one kind of movie and it plays like another. It's about a homosexual nightclub owner in the south of France who's lived very happily for the last 20 years with a transvestite star of his show. But then one day the club owner's son comes home and announces that he's going to get married to a girl. And he wants to bring his bride home to meet the folks. But since the bride's father is a government minister and totally anti-gay, well, that causes certain problems. And in desperation, the gay father tries to give his friends lessons in how to act macho.
C'est ça. Et on rentre à la maison. Allez, viens.
Non, mais attends. Je vais me rafraîchir un peu.
Non, 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 non.
Qu'est-ce que j'ai fait?
Mais qu'est-ce que c'est que cette façon de marcher?
Qu'est-ce qu'il y a?
Marche comme ça ce soir et adieu Berthe.
Qu'est-ce qu'elle a fait?
Viens ici, viens ici.
Qu'est-ce que tu veux?
Essaie de marcher comme John Wayne.
Le cow-boy?
Oui. John Wayne, tu descends de cheval, tu t'avances vers le saloon, envoie valser la porte et crac. Tu peux essayer.
Que je fasse John Wayne?
C'est ça.
Eh ben alors.
Ça, c'est John Wayne, jeune fille.
Alors, PD? Il y en a un qui m'a traité de PD. Il va voir.
C'est toi qui as traité mon copain de PD?
Looks like they're going to need John Wayne to get out of that one. Well, things really get complicated when the bride's family finally does show up, and I want to see if you can follow this. Now, the kid wants to introduce his parents to his in-laws, right? So he's got to have a mother. So his father recruits his real mother to come back home and play the role for one night, and so far, so good, but then things get complicated when the transvestite dresses up in drag, and he also turns up as the mother, so now we got a nice little family dinner party with two mothers. The movie itself is one of the year's funniest comedies, and it also has a nice friendly quality. It's not against anybody. It kind of amuses itself, and it amuses us with a basically pretty cheerful look at human nature.
I think it's well acted, I'll grant you that. As far as doubling me over with laughter, not once. And I think the reason is that the material no longer is very shocking to me. This film was based on a play that was written in France, I think, a number of years ago, about half a dozen years ago.
Been playing in Paris for the last 6 years.
Yeah. I think if I had seen it when it was first written, there might have been a little shock that this straight-laced person gets confronted by these homosexuals. But now that stuff is sort of normal, and it doesn't work for me.
I couldn't disagree with you more. I don't feel in any way that the movie works because of or because it lacks shock value. It's not shocking. It's a comedy. It works because of a clockwork plot where people come in at the wrong minute or walk out at the wrong minute or say the wrong things or something, situations like that. It's not supposed to be shocking, I don't think.
Okay, and I didn't think it was. But now we come to something that I think we agree on.
At last.
That one of the more talented people out in Hollywood is actor Alan Alda, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
In addition to acting on the popular TV show MASH, Alda writes and directs a few episodes of that show, MASH, each year. Now, he's a very good writer, and he proves it in his new film, The Seduction of Joe Tynan, about a United States senator seduced by the prospect of getting greater and greater power. Now, in addition to great power, a person is tempting Alda, and that's a young lawyer played by Meryl Streep, who wants Alda to vote against a Supreme Court nominee whom she considers a racist. Now, when Streep and Alda begin working together on this case, they're drawn to each other nervously because they're both married.
I have a 1970 decision on segregation. Makes him look really bad. What are you smiling at?
Well, I think that something may be happening here that we didn't expect. What do you think?
I was hoping we were going to have the brains not to mention it.
I don't think you have any idea how many times I've thought of you since New Orleans.
Yeah, I do. You know, I have a husband.
I'm not suggesting anything. However, I do notice that I want this Anderson thing to go on forever. I think I'm infatuated with you. You remind me of John F. Kennedy.
Oh, boy. I never heard that one before.
You do. If you look just behind his eyes, you could see his intelligence, and his wit, compassion, just like you.
Did you make a pass at Kennedy?
Was this a pass? I think this is a pass.
A nice kiss and terrific writing there. A beautiful scene. You remind me of John F. Kennedy, I think, is going to be one of the great lines in the history of movies. Guys are going to be using that line in singles bars from now on. But things don't go easy for Joe Tynan. Everything he chases has a price. And the price of chasing Meryl Streep is his relationship with his wife, Barbara Harris. Now, as their marriage breaks apart, in a last-ditch move to protect himself from himself, Alan Alda asks his wife to move their family home from New York to Washington.
What would you think about living in Washington?
You mean move there?
I think I need you down there.
You know, I wanted to move to Washington when you first got elected, and you said to stay here so that we could have the weekends to ourselves.
Yeah, well, now I don't have weekends anymore. I have to lecture.
You have to lecture.
Well, do you think we can live on what I make as a senator?
And what about my work?
Well, isn't there a psychoanalytic institute in Washington?
Well, I guess there is, but the one that's accepted me is in New York. And the man I work with, the man who's brought me along to the point where I am now, is also in New York. I don't just work in a building, Joe. There are people there who mean something to me. Sure. Really?
Think about Washington, will you?
A nice level of tension there. The Seduction of Joe Tynan is an awfully strong film, a very good one. It's a relief from all the silly films, the trivial films we've been getting this summer. We care about Joe Tynan. We're not sure what choices he's going to make. He doesn't seem to know either. It's just like real life.
It is just like real life. And one of the things I liked is how complicated the film makes its characters.
Yes.
Usually in a love triangle, you get the faithful wife, you get the evil woman, you get the guy in the middle. This time Joe is in the middle, and he's really in the middle because everybody in the film is so complicated, just like real people. And the movie plays fair with their complications until the end, until the last 5 minutes, and then it tries to simplify things and go for a happy ending that just doesn't convince
If they had cut off the last 15 seconds, it would have helped. You know, it's easy to throw on a happy ending. It's easy to throw on a very sad ending. This picture was so sophisticated in the beginning, we wanted a life goes on kind of
ending. It really
ending.
got our expectations up, but I think one thing we should make clear is that we do like the film.
Yes, we do.
Despite the fact
I like
the ending.
Alan Alda. I think he could be the modern Jimmy Stewart. He's got that purity, that good guy quality. He gets himself in a little trouble in this picture.
Okay, so this time we agree. Go see The Seduction of Joe Tynan. Close your eyes for the last 5 seconds, right?
Okay.
Okay. This has been a year for movies about youth gangs, from the Warriors to the Wanderers, but no movie this year has been so perceptive about teenage crime as a low-budget drama called Over the Edge. It's set in a small community west of Denver. It's about kids who have no place to go and nothing to do in a suburban wasteland. It does a very good job of catching the way these kids really do think and really do behave. And here's a scene where the hero comes home to face his parents after being beaten up by a couple of young local hoods.
Carl! Come over here. I want to talk to you. Sit down.
What is it?
I had a talk with Sergeant Doberman this evening. I had to sit there while he warned me about keeping you in line or I'd find myself in some juvenile court somewhere.
What? Doberman said what?
I'm not finished. I saw you at that wreck yesterday when that boy was arrested, too.
Oh, I know you did. I'll bet you and Jerry Cole had Doberman bust the wreck on purpose, huh?
Is that what you think? Do you also think that I put that ounce of hash in Claude Zachary's pocket, do you? You think that, too?
It wasn't an ounce, Dad.
How in the hell do you know so much about it?
Did I get busted?
Oh,
Fred, let's just discuss this quietly. It's not necessarily Carl's fault that Claude...
It's never his fault, honey. It's always his friend's fault, right? His friends with the knives, his friends with the drugs, but I got a secret for you, Carl. Those friends of yours are going right to reform school, and you're not going to follow.
Who's going to reform school?
Carl, we don't want you to see your friend Richie White for a while. Or Claude Zachary either. Now, the teen centers are going to be closed for a while. At least until they can find a new counselor.
What's wrong with Julia?
I know you like her, hon, but it's obvious she can't control the Wilder kid.
You're crazy.
Don't leave while we're talking. I said don't leave when we're talking to you.
Stop that!
That was Michael Kramer in a very good performance as the son. And the movie's best scenes are between Kramer and Pamela Ludwig, who plays his girlfriend. When Over the Edge concentrates on these kids and their frustrations, on their angers, their yearnings, it's a very good and sensitive movie. But unfortunately, it goes for a big, explosive climax in which the kids practically declare war on their parents, and that's not original and it's not convincing. Over the Edge has such good stuff in it that I really wish it had avoided the Hollywood ending and stuck to its convictions.
Yeah, the parents are a bunch of boobs again in this picture. Good kids, rotten parents. That's easy trash to play up to kids in the audience. The film also has a basic flaw. The film argues that if these kids had more recreational facilities, they wouldn't riot at the end of the picture. Well, you could build 100 recreational facilities there, and the kids are still going to riot, because that's in the nature of this kind of picture, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. For example, if you look at the ads, you hear the ads on radio and television, the ads make you think the whole thing is a war picture between teenagers and parents, and that's exploitation. It doesn't do justice to the good things in the movie.
Sure, and we get that every summer. Films playing up to young people who go to the movies most of all during the summer. This film does not work at all, I think.
Well, Spot thinks there are a couple of other movies not worth seeing this week, Gene, and so here he is, Spot the Wonder Dog, to introduce Dogs of the Week, where we each pick the week's worst movie.
Yes, and my dog of the week is the latest Bruce Lee ripoff. Why won't producers let that man lie in peace? Profit is why. Everybody's been trying to find the new Bruce Lee after he died in 1973. Game of Death takes a 6-minute fight sequence Lee filmed with basketball star Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and builds a whole movie around it. Now the fight's okay, but after you've seen that, you've seen the whole movie. What goes on before is just another stupid mobster picture with a stuntman doubling for Lee and with the director of Game of Death intercutting shots of the real Bruce Lee taken from other movies. So Game of Death is worse than a dog. It's fraudulent filmmaking.
Sounds to me like grand larceny.
Petty theft.
Okay. My dog of the week this week is a so-called comedy named Summer Camp about a group of aging adolescents with IQs of, about -17. They spend the summer throwing pillows, pies, and themselves at each other, and the movie sounds like a rip-off of Meatballs. But, no, it was made before Meatballs. It was released afterwards, though, because it was so lousy it couldn't get distributed without riding in on another film's coattails. So Summer Camp is technically about as bad as a movie can be and still be called a movie, and the actors seem about as talented as losers on a game show. But thanks to Meatballs, Summer Camp does set at least one record. It's the first rip-off that was ever made before the original.
Horrible. Now, so much for the dogs. Now to recap our reaction to the main movies on this show. Roger liked Rich Kids, the New York divorce through the eyes of children picture, a little bit more than I did. He gives it a mild yes. He recommends you see it. I don't. But we both thought the kids were okay. It's the adults who were the dummies. I give Rich Kids, which is rated PG, a no. We also disagree on the Albert Brooks comedy, Real Life. A strong yes from me. Roger wonders if he saw the same movie I did, because he says a strong no. I'm wondering what you saw, Roger. And we disagree on La Cage aux Folles, the French farce. Roger thought it was delightful. I thought the subject was old hat, but well performed. He says yes, I say no. And how about this, another disagreement. Roger liked Over the Edge, the teenage rebellion story. He liked it sort of. Again, I like the kids, but the adults were cartoon goofballs. I say no to Over the Edge. Finally, agreement on the Seduction of Joe Tynan, Alan Alda's movie. We both say yes enthusiastically. Since we both say yes, I guess we know what we really like, at least on that one.
So in the midst of all this critical carnage, you're saying we can agree on the Seduction of Joe Tynan as one movie to go to see this time.
And maybe also what we're saying is when you try and put kids and parents together, it's too easy. You make a sloppy film if you make it all good kids and all bad parents.
So let's have more bad kids?
That's a good idea.
That's it for this show. Next on Sneak Previews, we'll be taking a look at Time After Time, starring Malcolm McDowell as a Victorian detective transported to modern-day San Francisco. Also, When a Stranger Calls, about a terrorized babysitter. And Monty Python's controversial new comedy, Life of Brian. So until then, see you at the movies.
Funding for Sneak Previews was provided by this station and by other public television stations.